Well, hello. This is our recording of Seasoned Couples. And today we've got one of our favorite couples here today. We've got Kenneth and Delaina Allen, affectionately known to me as Dee Dee. So I'm going to go to Kenneth to introduce you guys. So, Kenneth.
Well, good morning. It's a pleasure to be on the podcast and just share our experiences. I'm Kenneth Allen. This is Delaina Allen, my lovely wife, and it's a pleasure to just be here, communicating about couples and marriage, and a topic that we're very excited and intimate about, and I'm sure we could share some experiences that we've had that'll benefit everyone.
Awesome. So Kenneth, tell us, how long have you guys been married, and tell us how you met.
Well, we have been married for 18 years now. It seemed like just 8 months, but
Hmm. Yeah.
that's quite a bit of time, and we constantly get to know each other all over again in these 18 years every year. But we met probably at a point in both of our lives where we were going through transition. We were both coming out of marriages and relationships that just didn't work for us. So we met. Well, we met on the night that I was out actually celebrating with a friend of mine freedom. So, and what I mean by that is it was actually the day of my actual divorce.
Wow.
So we were out just at this place called the Wonder Bar,
Hmm.
listening to music. A friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, and I wasn't trying to meet anyone. I was just celebrating. And then I looked across the room and I saw this shining light, a smile that was so beautiful. I just had to say hello, and I love to dance. So I, gingerly walked over and she was enjoying herself with two friends. And I just introduced myself and said, "Hey, would you like to dance?" And she said, "Not right now, but I'll let you know."
Right.
And I said, "Okay, that's fine. If you don't, then I'll carry on." But that's kind of how I introduced myself to her.
So the version is the same. I'm not going to say you left some stuff out, but what I'll share is that so I too was going through a divorce.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so and was just and very um, it was a really nasty divorce. A very it was stressful, right? Is what I'll say. And so I had two of my very best friends. So actually, it was her and her boyfriend, right? So they would take me out because I love to dance too. Like I love dancing, and so I would go out with them every weekend or on the weekends, and we would dance. And so this particular night, we were at the Wonder Bar, and just like he said, he came up and introduced. So the joke was with my friends was how many guys is she going to tell no tonight? Because it was like, it was a joke, it was just a running joke because when I went out to dance, I danced with them. I didn't want to dance with anybody. I didn't want, I just was, because that was it was a really, really rough time. And so when he came up to ask me to dance, I was talking and I was like, no, not right now. Which I had never said that before, which was very weird. I know. I was like, I was like, that's interesting. And so this song came on. It was a Sunshine Anderson song. I don't know if y'all remember this song. It's
Look who's lurking now. I had just
I heard it all before, right? I heard it
Right.
all before. So it's a wonderful song. And of course, me going through a divorce, I loved that song at the time. And so that song came on, and I was looking around. I was like, where'd it go? Where'd it go? So we literally met on the dance floor, started dancing. That song was over, and I went back to my friends. He went back to his. And so a little bit later on in the night, he walked over and he said, excuse me again. He said, I'd like to know if I can take you to lunch sometime. And I was just really quickly, and I said, no, I'm married. Or he asked me was I married. That's what it was. He said, are you married? And I said, yeah, because again, I knew it was a no, right?
Right.
So he said, oh, man. He said, okay. He said, well, it was so nice to meet you. And then he turned around and I looked at my girlfriend. I said, wait, he was kind of cute. And so then I turned around and I tapped him on the shoulder and I said, but not for long.
Oh.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
He said, you too? And I said, yes.
Yeah.
So here's one detail that he left out.
Mhm.
We literally were dressed in the same thing. Black leather pants and a black sweater.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, both of us had the same thing on. And so we chatted just for maybe a couple minutes, and he said, we talked about kids. He said, I have 2 children. I said, me too. He said, boy and a girl. I said, me too.
But going through a process like that, I would imagine that you were very hesitant to really get into a serious relationship with someone else. So Ken, how did you know that okay, Delaina was the one after going through that type of experience?
You know, when you meet people, your senses tell you, you know, and your discernment, when you listen to the Lord, it give you a good impression on what a person's like, especially as you mature. You know, you don't have this sense of discernment early on, like in college or in high school, but after years of relationships and years of dealing with people at work and personal, within 5 minutes, you could know if a person is really genuine or if they're trying to get something out of you. When we met within 10 minutes, I just felt like Delaina was so genuine. She was a person that I wanted to be around. As a friend, I wasn't interested in a romantic relationship or, you know, a serious relationship, and neither was she. But within 2 weeks, Terry, with our commonality, with our spiritual matureness and where we were going and headed, and our ambitions, and mainly our children. That was our primary focus, our children. So we had so much in common. We didn't put any pressure on each other. I was like, I'd like to spend a little time with this young lady, you know, because it allowed us to de-stress. It allowed us to not put any pressure on each other, just to have fun. And so I was like, I can get used to this, you know. And before you know it, the friendship just kind of developed over time because we were friends and we were able to talk to each other all night at times. We had both been through a rough situation with our previous marriages, and our kids were the most important thing, and we kind of built on that. So it didn't take long.
No.
Didn't take it long at all. I think after we met, it was what, 2 years
That we
married?
Yeah, we met. So we met January 25th of 2002, and we were married August 4th of 2004.
Wow. Wow. So, you know, there's something you said, Kay. I want to kind of, you know, unpack that a little bit because, of course, Delaina is beautiful. So there, you know, clearly you saw her, you saw she was beautiful, but there was something you mentioned you just wanted to be around her. So from speaking to women out there where they've got the physical piece together, what is it that draws you to a woman or drew you to Delaina outside of the physical piece? Because she's obviously, that's my girl and she is beautiful
Yes, yes.
from head to toe. So I know you were attracted to her when you saw her, but there's something deeper about that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. You know, past the physical and the beauty, it was her presence. She's a great mother. She knows how to treat people. She's kind. She's genuine. She'll do anything she can for anybody. She's thoughtful. She was concerned with, you know, what I was feeling, what I was going through. It's just her genuine love, and in her search and her pursuit for our Lord and for our Savior. You know, we spent some time in church together. And so past how she looked, it was more about who she is and what she stood for. You know, a woman of integrity, a woman that will speak the truth, was something that I needed. And so that was more really important to me, as a single black male with two kids. We were very careful, and that's a whole nother subject about introducing each other to our kids until we knew we were solid, or in a relationship. But that draw of, you know, genuineness, integrity, and that smile and fun and no pressure just made me want to, it was like an escape, to be honest. Between work, at the time I was living with my mom, you know, trying to take care of her and listen to her tell me what to do and how to do it. And then the pressures of divorce itself and the back and forth about kids being in two households and, what you stand for and what the other parents stand for. It was just a lot to deal with. And so we were able to talk through many issues. And that attracted me to her without expecting, intimacy in the form of a physical nature. It was more intimacy from a cognitive standpoint, and that's what drove our, our relationship. And then of course the Lord, we depended on Him, and I learned a lot during this process, on how to be a husband and a father and a man through the Word and through the Bible. Our pastor, Terrence Johnson, and I did a lot of reading with Tony Evans and T.D. Jakes, and all of them were saying the same thing about being a man and a husband and a father. And you take all that information and you start to apply it, and wonderful things happen. So, yeah.
Well, good. That's beautiful.
But one of the things that I thought you said was interesting was that you had this sort of instant connection. And I tell the stories that when Nanette and I actually met, I was coming out of class and I was in college. I was coming out of class, I went into the snack bar, and one of her friends called me over to the table where she was sitting, and she introduced me to her, and all I said was hi, and I was painfully shy. And I said hi to her, and by the time I got to the door of the snack bar, I said, there she is right there.
Wow.
It was just something that was just, it
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah.
I knew, but my approach was slow.
That's okay. God's timing is always perfect. I
That's it.
think
That's
that
it.
the thing that you said, Kay, was, and Terrence has said this before, it's about how she made you feel, as a man when you're with her. So it's not always about the physical piece, but, she stimulated your mind, that cognitive piece. And I think that's so important for women to understand that it's not always about the physical. A man's gonna stay because you stimulate his mind, and you have things in common, and you have things to talk about. So Dee Dee, how did
Yes.
you know KA was the one?
You know what? So, when I said probably again within 2 weeks, because it took us about 2 weeks to go to lunch, or
Yeah.
we actually went to like an early dinner. I almost canceled. Literally was like sick. I was like, oh, I can't go. Oh, I can't go. Because my heart was just racing, and when we would talk on the phone, and we talked a lot, before we met, but when we would talk on the phone, we were just so connected. Like, that's the best way I can explain it, that we were just so connected, like completing each other's sentences, and we had not even been around. But I want to step back a moment, because I remember when I was in my previous marriage and going through things, I literally would be in bed. I can remember being in bed at 10, 11, 4 a.m. in the morning, right? Because there were things going on, praying, God, I want somebody that loves me the way that I love. God, why can't I have somebody that supports me the way that I support? God, why, I was thinking, but then I was very young in my faith, so I didn't recognize that as a prayer. Now I recognize it as a prayer.
Right.
And when I look at him, like literally every day, I'm like, God, you did that. You did that. And so when you say when did I know, literally it was in about 2 weeks when I said yeah, literally 2 weeks when I was like, because my thing being a Southern girl, right? Everybody knows one of the traits of a Southern girl is to fix your plate. And I mean fix it, not prepare it, fix it. You gotta fix the plate, right? And I said, you know what? I fixed that brother's plate.
I love it. And you do. Still to
Oh,
this day, you fix his plate. Yep.
said,
Yep.
I will fix his plate, you know. And he has such a patient and calm and consistent presence. I mean, he's not going up here, he's not going down there. He is steady. And for me, that is what I needed then. That is what I need today. That he constantly pushes me. I mean, the support that he provides and the support that he gives me, like, I can't even, like, sometimes I'm like, are you real? Real up there, you know? Do you really mean this? And sometimes I'll look, you know, and I'm like, God, I literally thank God for him every day.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like today, like literally every, you know, I'm always thinking about him. I'm always thinking about how blessed I am, how blessed, you know, our kids are, how blessed, you know, our family is, just to see our relationship and to know him, you
yeah.
know. So I knew literally within 2 weeks that he was the one. And one of the things that I really loved about him that helped me, and my favorite words is free. Be free. Eddie, you know that. Be free. Be free. And his laugh is and was so contagious and it's so freeing. Like I would laugh just because he was laughing, right? And it would be, you know, it'd be 3 o'clock in the morning, you know.
Now, you guys, you've already revealed that you were married before, you both had kids. So let's talk about, because, sometimes it's really hard for families to blend. And I think you guys have done a beautiful job doing that. So you want to share with the audience, like, what is it? How have you made that work? Like, what, because it's hard to do, right? So how have you made that work? Just give us some pointers.
Patience,
Yeah.
persistence,
Yeah.
prayer,
Yes.
and room to make mistakes.
Yes.
When I say patience, the kids, they were all at different ages when we married. We had one that was, what, 2.5, 3, another one that was 6, another one that was 12, and another one that was,
Well, Cece was 8, right?
yeah, Cece was 8,
Yeah.
Elena was,
We had a high schooler.
well, there you go, that's better.
We had a high
Yeah.
schooler, a junior high school, an elementary, and a daycare.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's blended. And you talk about schedules and you talk about getting kids to where they need to be, homework, extracurricular activities. It took a sacrifice from both of us. I've been on my job for 33 years. Delaina pushed some things back so that she could be home, preparing meals, making sure the kids were okay, making sure homework was done, and then working in between that at home. That was part of the motivation of starting her own business. During the time, because she was working full time with a company, but we transitioned after we were married and we had all the kids in the house.
Yeah.
And her kids, our oldest two, I don't like to say her, she don't like to say his,
Right.
but our oldest two were pretty solid. They were there, every day, every week, every month. The younger two, which we had to blend in to the family, 1 week on, 1 week off. So
Right.
it's two different households, two different set of rules, two different philosophies and belief systems. So that was tough, but
Yeah.
the younger two quickly realized the boundaries, and Jamie and Elena, the older two, were so supportive as big sisters and big brothers. It was like, God gave us double what we thought we lost
Wow.
in the midst of the divorce.
Yeah.
And having all four kids together was truly amazing, because at the time we were living in an apartment, and Jamie and Aaron had to share a room, and Elena and Sierra had to share a room, which helped them in their relationship. They all love each other. We don't treat them any different. So having a solid foundation in our house, led by God, and us teaming and working together, and really mapping everything out was truly amazing on how that happened. But with a blended family with children brings a different element from the other parent's perspective, and so there was quite a bit of back and forth concerning a lot of things.
Yeah.
Our previous relationship, how the kids are being raised, what rules you comply with. It's just a whole different dynamic. And so consistency for one, boundaries for two, with not just the kids, but with the previous relationships.
Right. Right.
Setting boundaries were critical to us moving through over the years. It took us about 66 years to get really comfortable
Yeah.
with the situation. And even to this day, I'll admit, we have to be intentional, and we have to be careful, and we have to give, space, and we have to communicate in the process. So that those are all critical pieces to having a functional, blended family, where you always have to deal with another parent,
Yeah.
in the process.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But let me unpack that a little bit.
I'm sorry, I had to go to work mode on that one.
Yes. No, that is perfect, and you're right. For me, because I'm a very structured individual, I'm very structured, and so it was new for me too. I mean, it was new for the both of us, right? Really making it work and blending the families, and making sure that everybody was as comfortable as could be, right? And so, it's understood. I am the mom in this house. He is the dad in this house. Am I trying to replace your mom? No. Are you trying to replace your dad? No. Am I the mother of this house? Yes. Is he the father of this house? Yes. Here are our rules that will be followed. And those are what I mean? We have boundaries, we have rules. They're all based upon, just values and belief systems that we have, right? So if we're going to church, we're going to go to church on Sunday. We're going to have conversations. We're going to eat together. We are going to, we're going to sit. We're going to do our homework. We are very, very structured. And so when Kenneth talked about, me staying home, or us deciding together, right? You stay home, work in between, try to start this business. But what's most important is not a check right now. It is, we have gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot. And a lot of times I believe that when people go through or experience divorces, the kids are not considered enough. And that's why, they could be 20, 21, 30, 35, and they still have, issues around the divorce, because they weren't really considered, And so one of the things that I shared with Jamie and Elena, I said, if and only if you meet someone else, I promise you, my promise to you, because I'm very sorry. And I still today still apologize to them for some things, right? But I told them, I said, if you meet anybody, I promise you he will be solid. I promise you he will be a great leader. So I promised all of these things, right? So they already knew when they met Kay, okay, we don't have to side eye this one, right? We don't have to side eye. But just to go back, I think the thing that really helped us is that the genuine love that we show for one another, right? Because you have children coming from, and I'm just going to say some sort of dysfunction, right? Because there was a certain level of dysfunction. I'll just say that. So because of that, both of our children, so all of the children were looking like, okay, well, wait, is this going to work? I mean, is this okay? Can I get close? Or, because they have their own things. And so with the way we love each other, even today, they know that it's real. They know that it's genuine. They know that, you know what I mean? They know that we all love each other, and they know that we put each other first, right? So that was one thing that was really critical for us in blending our family. Understanding the structure of our family, God, and then he and I, and then the children, right? Right. Also, we're here, we're a blended family. I didn't give birth to you, but I still have an opinion, right? And my opinion matters. He's not the birth father, but he still has an opinion, right? And so together we're going to make the best decision, for the kids. And I think really establishing those boundaries to make sure that we were protecting each other, right? First, it's God, us, and then the kids, even though, that's probably super difficult for them to understand, but it's the truth. And I believe today that is why we are as solid and as strong as we are today, because I can't be messed up about him. You know what I mean? Like, and what I mean by that specifically is somebody can come and tell me something. I'm not going to be moved because I'm going to have a conversation with him, because that's just how solid we are. And I know it's a part of us blending this family, together. So.
And the kids were fine.
Yeah, kids were great.
The day we sat down, Elena, Cece, and Jamie, and Aaron. Aaron was too young; he wasn't there, but we didn't think he would understand this type of conversation. But we were breaking the news that, hey, we're going to get married. We're engaged, and we're going to get married. Yeah. And we sat in an old neighborhood that I grew up in Hiram Clark, at this place called Beef and Buns. Yeah. And the girls were already connected.
They already knew.
They were already talking, giggling, and news. I said, how do we tell them this? And what are they going to think about it, right? Right. So I said, you guys, we are engaged and we're getting married. Sierra and Elena both looked at each other and just started laughing. Right.
They said, we already knew. We're just waiting on y'all to tell us.
So what about Jamie? What did Jamie say?
Jamie, he's quiet. He's with them, but when he get that little smile to the side, then that's his nod of approval. Yeah. So, yeah. But
he's very quiet.
He's very quiet. But his presence, and you could tell when he's in deep thought, and you can tell when he's just relaxed and pleased just by looking at him. And so the kids were fine. Now, on my end, my ex-wife, there were some challenges, some major challenges. And on Delaina's end, with her ex-husband, we had no issues because they didn't have a back and forth. It was just a clean break. Right. On my end, with the kids being so young, Aaron being young and Sierra being so young, in the week on and week off, but I just thank her, and I love her, and I love the way she communicates, and she's been a saving grace, an angel that the Lord has sent, keeping things peaceful and moving forward and focusing on kids at the same point. Without her, I don't know if I'll be here, to be
And I
honest.
think that says a lot about Delana as the woman that I know. She is a great communicator. And for you to see the need to communicate to the ex-wife for the what's best for the whole family, I think it's just amazing.
Yeah, and one of the things that it's important is for each one of you to have a separate relationship with each child. You know, and so what did you do during this process for you to have a really a relationship with each child without having to go through the other person? Because I think that's important because you guys done a great job. But what did you do to facilitate that over the years?
It was
No,
natural.
I was about to say, you know what? It was just it was really just a natural thing. It really, really was. I will say that um, one of the things. So we got married in August of 2004. We moved into our house in January of 2005. So for the first probably two to 3 years, we didn't have furniture downstairs. We just had this really fluffy red rug, right? And so when even well, we'd have either all of the kids or two of the kids. Well, Jamie went off to college, but that first year, but we would have red carpet meetings. You know, so that was our summer. So long before Jada was doing red table, I was doing red carpet.
I love it. Love it.
Right.
Yeah, so we would sit down and we would talk about just, hey, are you thinking about anything, how do you feel today, you know what I mean, or well, how was your week, what are you, and we did not allow, for instance, like if I said, how was your day today? Oh, it was good. Tell me what was good about it. We didn't just, if you couldn't just be good and then that's it. Well, let's keep talking about it, right? And so we would do things like that. We also made sure that we ate dinner together every night. Again, another southern thing. We ate dinner together every night. Whether it was Monday, Tuesday, during the week, whenever it was time to eat. Hey, time to eat. Everybody comes to the table. I think also something that could have helped with that too is that when we all would finish eating, everybody had their separate chores, right? So we had maybe the girls may be washing dishes, the boys may have been wiping the counters. Aaron was younger, so he would sweep, right? I think just to answer your question specifically about the separate relationships to make sure we had connections with each one. I'm telling you, it was just God just moving because we all still today have our own individual relationships with all of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
We really do.
It took a solid.
Yeah.
Um, um, it just took a solid comfort and understanding that we're in this all together first.
Yeah.
So with us being all together, doing all those things together, getting comfortable with conversations, tough conversations, knowing that all the kids knowing that we're on the same page. 9 times out of 10, if you ask mom something, dad's gonna say, "Yep, that's right." Or vice versa, right? I mean, we were always connected that way.
Yeah.
So even though separate conversations happened, they were unified from a boundary standpoint and from a direction standpoint. Some things that I could say as a man, Delaina shouldn't say.
Right.
And some things that she says as a woman, I shouldn't say.
Right.
And so we clearly understand that. There's no reason for me to talk about female issues with a female unless I'm a single dad. I have to.
Right.
But working together, we don't. I can have those conversations, but when our kids have a tough question, they know that they can always come to us without any fear or repercussion first. And so that's what's really special about us doing this together. And then individually, they're more comfortable because they know we're doing this together with any question, whether it's mom or dad. So our individual relationships sprung from our unified relationship as a family.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I would also add to that, because we all, the both of us know um, each one of the children so well. We know we actually we have it's just a keen sense. We know when they need him or when they need me. We just know. So, and I'll give an example of that. So Jameson was here. Um, I'll just say maybe a couple of years ago, 2, 3 years ago, whatever. And I knew, so I was like, something is going. So no, this was actually just I'll talk about when he was going to get married. I'll do that. So he was here and he was just kind of walking back and forth. And I was like, okay. So I told Kay, I said, sweetie, I said, because normally we're always together. We are a constant in the household. We're constant. They're always going to see us. And so I said, sweetie, I said, I said, can you go to the store or something or go walking? I said, I feel like he needs to talk, and he's not going to say, hey, he's not going to pull me away because we're a unit, right? And so sure enough, he said, okay, yeah, I'll go walking or something like that. And sure enough, we're into a very, very deep 3-hour conversation, right? And so there are little things like that we know about all of the kids. If Cece gets super quiet, hey, what's going on? And that can come from either one of us. And what I'll also say, which I think is really huge, is we tag team a lot. Like we tag team a lot. If he gets something, hey, I got a little bit of information here, but just can you call and check on it, and vice versa.
Right.
What's also beautiful, they know our level of expertise. So certain things, if it's business related, they'll go to her. We just had Aaron just had a conversation just about business in general. He's working on his master's and he got his undergraduate degree in business. Who runs the business?
Right.
So they're bouncing out ideas back and forth. Not that I can't give valuable input,
Right. That's right.
but if it's anything dealing with sports, he's
That's right.
she hold her own also.
Right.
Over all the years, all the contests, all the travel, all the things we've done, we're just all connected. And based on how they know us, they'll come to us with their own separate questions and conversations.
Yeah.
And
That's beautiful.
like I said, nine times out of 10, we're both on the same page anyway. So
Right. So let's talk about romance and how you keep, we just talked about blended families. You got kids in every age group, childcare, elementary school, middle school, high school. So over the years, how do you keep the romance going in your relationship?
that's a good question. Let me pause y'all for a second.
You can show us better. You can tell us.
And I say that only to say that when you're really busy, we're extremely busy.
Yeah.
You have to make time.
Yeah.
You have to set aside a day, an hour, a minute, a lunch, whenever you can, because as you go through these phases, when we were dating, we were a relief for each other. Once we got serious, and we were from intimacy. It's not only physical, but it's mental, like we were talking earlier. But we were able to carve out that time relatively easy.
Yeah.
Because we had kids 1 week on, 1 week off. We had our schedules. It was pretty easy. But as we grew as a couple, even up to now, I think we're more busy now from a business standpoint than we've ever been in our marriage. And so we don't have any kids in the house, but we got major responsibilities to worry about.
Yeah.
And so we could go night and day, just work, and on weekends, just to schedule this podcast it took 2 weeks, right? So, and, scheduling
Yeah.
a day, a night off, or we went to dinner last night. I said, "Come on, baby, we got a small win to celebrate. Let's
Yeah.
go have dinner,"
Right.
Yeah.
and then and just knowing what pleases her. For me, knowing that and studying her and knowing what makes her feel good physically and mentally is a great thing to have as a husband, I think. And then when she don't want to be bothered and she needs some peace, I allow peace, When I can't stand it anymore, I'll wake her up.
You say you wake up.
And the key to that is, and I wake up. Okay. And I
I had a wise woman tell me one time. I won't say who that woman is.
okay.
The key is to keep them empty and full.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And I have lived by that advice. Keep them empty and full.
And she was a very wise woman, whoever
Yes.
she was.
Yeah, very wise woman. Very wise woman.
But one of the things that I often say is that people see marriage as love and as a connection and family, but marriage is also about process because you're evolving and it's about staying connected during this evolution. And so that sort of helps the romance part of it is that as the other person shifts, you're sort of shifting with them together, sort of moving together. And so what do you guys do to help, staying connected when there's shifts, and because you're going to grow, you're not the same person you were 18
Right.
years ago.
Right.
You're
Right.
better, you're more evolved, you're more mature. And so, what are some of the things you think you did during these years to shift when the other person shifted? You know, there's a song that said, "When you move, I move." You know what I'm saying? So,
Just like that.
Yes,
And that's really what I was going to say is because even though we're moving and growing, we're moving and growing together, right? So, like he said, he's been in his position or he's been with his company for like 33 years, but has been elevated, right? And just recently, you guys celebrated with us a really huge promotion, right? And so he is extremely busy. So he's shifting and he's moving, right? And he's going in different circles. And wifey is right there in the circle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I believe that sometimes people can get just don't really stay focused on the marriage. Oops, I'm spilling stuff. Don't continue staying focused on the marriage and the relationship, not just the marriage, but the actual relationship, right? So I'm going to continue going with him. And then and thank God, and again, I know it's because God placed us together. We've never been in a position where it's like, okay, we can't celebrate you because we're celebrating me. We celebrate each other together. So when we sit down on Sundays and we calendar for the week, what events do we have? What events do you have? Right. And if there's something that we both can attend, there are sometimes we say, you know what, maybe let's try to touch the both. But if not, let's, you attend this one, I attend that one. Sometimes we do have to divide and conquer, but for the most part, we are together. We're together. And I'm going to share a quick story because we were in the store. We were in TJ Maxx, one of my favorite stores, right? And so, and I said it without even thinking about it. So the cashier said, oh, do you guys want to apply for a TJX rewards card, blah, blah, blah. And I was looking, I said, oh, no, 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 we already have one. We already have one. I'm looking through my wallet. And so she looks at him and says, my KA is who she looked at. So she says,
I take a drink on that one.
right. She says, "Oh, well, what about you? I mean, do you have one too?" I didn't even look up. I I said we have one. I said we operate as one in this house, and I just kept it moving, right?
Right.
So I'm
Right.
saying to say, yes, our careers are very busy. God has even more planned for us and in store for us that we're going to get, and we're going to do it, but we're going to do it together. And for us, this is collaboration. We're never in competition. We won't ever be in competition. If there's something that's causing competition in our house, we're gonna nix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
That,
absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think, and you and I have talked about this before, Dee
Hmm.
Dee, and I just want to make sure, and I've said this to Terrence before, but I want KA to say it. When you've got a partner, especially as a woman, being a black woman, that is so supportive of you. Like Terrence to be like, ooh, girl, you a bad bitch. I mean, just the support, the constant, and it's vice versa, right?
Yes.
So I'm giving him words of affirmation. It just really makes like you said, yes, we're both growing. You're growing with your business. KA is growing with
His
his
career.
promotion and his career, but you're
Yes.
still a solid unit, right?
Yes.
Because you've got each other's back. You feel comfortable in soaring with your business because you know he's right there and he's got your back, and vice versa for him. And I think that to me, and that works for us as well. And I think that's the key to a solid relationship. And there was something else you said about God, you guys, and the kids. And I think people miss that a lot because the kids see our relationship, which means that's what they're going to emulate, right? That's the kind of person they're going to gravitate to. That's the kind of person they want to marry. That's the kind of relationship they want to have. And I think that's so important that couples keep their relationship solid to keep the
yeah,
whole family together.
Yeah.
yeah,
So I think that's just beautiful.
absolutely. That shift, you have different phases in life where you are growing constantly. You should be growing constantly until you decide to just retire.
Right.
And then you're still growing at retirement because you're able to do some things that you previously wasn't able to do. It may be a new hobby. It may be volunteer work. It may be something different. But understanding those phases and that shift and being supportive in the process is key to progress.
Yeah.
It's key. I'm not intimidated by having a strong wife, a strong businesswoman, a great mother, and a provider.
Yeah.
I'm not intimidated at all. I'm encouraged by it, to be honest. Because we're working as a team, and we know what need to be done from the household standpoint. We have roles and we have things that we do, as an assignment that we naturally pick up. But if I see my wife stressed out, busy, and I'm not as busy, either somebody's gonna come in and help, or I'm gonna have to pick that up.
Right.
Right.
Or throw a load of clothes in, outside of my norm. And so it's just being cognitive and thoughtful, and aware. We have to study y'all.
Hey, we
Or
gotta
we'll,
study
or, we,
this.
or we'll lose it, or we won't get it.
Yeah.
But
We
you know
won't.
what? It says a lot about you as men. Like it takes a really confident, strong man to be with a Delana or a Nanette, right? So to me, that says so much about you guys as men, your comfort in your masculinity, you're sure about who you are, you recognize that we together are a team. You know, everybody
Yes.
refers to us as the Rays. They refer to you guys as the Allens. Like
Mhm.
you're a unit, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so if one wins, you both win.
That's
And
right.
Terry always says, "Well, Nanette is organized, which means we are organized."
Yeah.
That's right.
Terrence knows accounting, so we know accounting. You know, like so it's that kind of concept, and I think it's just beautiful to see that in you guys.
But one of the things that I told Annette is when we first got married is that I wanted her to have the life that she always wanted. You know,
Mhm.
and as
Mhm.
a result of that, I want to see her live her and be her best self.
Right.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And as a result of that, you're constantly growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so and so we're Batman and Robin. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Right. Yeah.
and sometimes I'm Robin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and
Not a whole lot,
not
but
a whole lot.
sometimes.
And sometimes, and sometimes I'm Batman. It shifts depending on what the role is. You
That's
know,
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but I
What
want her to be her best self. You know,
Him. I just
but
love
but,
him.
but, but one thing though you said too was interesting was that marriage is actually a show of faith. And what happens is you're gonna have to just love that person with everything you have,
Right.
with the expectation they're gonna love you back the same way. But you can't wait for them to love you back. You have to just put it out there first and constantly do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and I like that because that's what you guys did throughout your marriage.
Mhm.
So our last question, because COVID um, has wreaked havoc on marriages, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I always like to ask couples this question: what did you learn about your marriage during COVID?
For me,
Yeah.
I learned that I can't wait till we both retire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because guess what? We'll be able to get up every morning
Mm-hmm.
and decide what we're going to do, when we're going to do it together.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
during COVID, during the heightened time of it, what, 19, mid 19 and 20, uh, we had to work from the house.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't go into the office. And so that meant we had a lot of time together,
Mm-hmm.
but we were still working.
Yes.
I mean,
Definitely.
like we were going into the office, but
Right.
no windshield time,
Yeah.
Right.
you know. But our mornings were free for intimacy, walks,
Mm-hmm. Very long walks. Yeah.
talks,
Mm-hmm.
prayer,
Mm-hmm.
just more time with each other, more intimate time. Just her and I,
Yeah.
nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I learned is that I could really look forward to that
Yeah.
when we both retire and settle. She's gonna be cool to be around.
Yeah. It's funny because
Yeah.
I realized that not only do I love Terrence, but I
Mhm.
like him. Like I
Mhm.
like being
Mm-hmm.
around him. He's funny.
Mhm.
We have our inside jokes. That was what I really, because you love your spouse, but some
Right.
people don't like being around their
Yeah.
spouse,
Yeah.
right? And so
Right.
that gave us the time to really be together, uninterrupted, that intimacy time, like you said, where we
Yeah.
could do walks and talk about things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like being around him. So,
Yeah.
what about for you, Dee
Yeah. You know what? And so the same for me. I'm gonna say that when he had to start going into the office, that was kind of like I had a little heartburn. I was like, and I would
Right.
call him. I'd be like, "Okay, babe, what time you coming home?" And it was like keep tabs, but
Yeah.
like I'm telling you, like we really are great friends.
Mhm.
Like I love hanging out with him. I love being with him. I look forward to him coming home. We're going, this will be in 23, we'll be on 19 years. But like I love hanging out with him.
D?
And I believe that one of the things that he lets me be me,
Mhm.
like my whole genuine self. I can, If I need to go and work and do something and, come maybe 2 weeks later and have a meltdown, he just got me covered. He's just like, come here, girl, come here, you,
Love
you
it.
know. And then when I thought about something, Terry, when you said something about rubbing each other's back. This is, I'm gonna share a little secret, but this is, he literally massages me every night.
What?
Every, and I mean, when I say, I'm like, and it just hit me. It just dawned on me like about, this was maybe like a couple of months ago. And I said to him, I said, sweetie, I was in tears. I was having a moment because I was so thankful. I was just being thankful for some other things. And then, he and I started talking and I said, sweetie, I said, cause I wake up and he's massaging me, like massaging my back, just like, just relax. And so it was a couple of nights ago, he was dog tired, right? And so he didn't massage me. And so I woke up and like want something. I'm like, hey. Oh, I'm sorry, babe. So I was pulling his hands. I was like, he said, babe, I'm so tired. I was like, you know, but just so I'm saying that to say, just even wrapping that in with COVID, we're 19 years in, 21 years knowing each other. We are just getting stronger. Our relationship is getting more solid. And I know that's not a word, but I'm gonna just say it. It's just getting gooder.
It's just getting gooder. I love it. Well,
Gooder.
Didi, you are not going to believe this,
Okay.
but Terrence massages me every night as
Mhm.
well. I
See,
mean,
great.
like
Yeah, that's it.
that
Yeah.
at around 8 o'clock or 8:30. That is our time. He
Yeah.
Yeah.
likes to watch sci-fi movies, so he'll find a show on Netflix,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
and I just lay there and he just massages
Right.
me like an
Yeah. That's it.
every night. So
Wow.
I when you said that, I was like,
I'm about
what?
to do this. We've never
We've
shared
never
this
discussed
before.
that. We've
We never,
never discussed that.
wow.
We just want y'all relaxed, happy wife, happy life.
Oh,
Right?
Everybody's
Love
happy.
it.
Right?
I
Everybody's
love
happy.
it.
And yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's
because
awesome.
because because one of the things that I realized though is that being married is not enough for your wife to hear you say you love her. Um, she needs to feel it.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the way for Nanette to know she is
Right.
in that I really love her. That's one of her love languages.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's not enough to say it, and
Yeah.
Right.
she needs to feel it.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
that's one of the reasons why we do that.
So,
That's
is there
right.
anything you guys would like to advice you'd like to leave for people that are looking to get married, or maybe single, or people that may be in marriages and things just aren't going their way? Any words of wisdom you'd like to leave us with?
No, I would just say patience, communication, and putting God first. Uh, there's a blueprint, and it's in the Bible. If you study the Word about relationships and marriage, it'll help no matter where you are in a relationship. Whether you're thinking about getting married, having issues, or single, if you can use those teachings and some counseling, with somebody that know what they're talking about,
Right.
and then for those singles that are looking, don't get so wrapped into their appearance. Get to know that person.
That's right. That's
What
right.
is their family like? What's their belief system?
Yeah.
Does this person have integrity?
Yeah.
Does this person have a higher calling?
Yeah.
What's the ambition? It's good to know a smidgen of that going into a serious relationship instead of getting into a relationship and finding all this stuff out later.
Yes.
Because your boundaries, and know your boundaries, know your individual boundaries, what you will accept and what you won't accept, and know how to be loved yourself.
That's right.
Know how to love yourself. So that's, I had to learn those things over the course of about 35, 40 years.
Wow.
And so, and in a snapshot, I'm saying to anybody that may be listening on the podcast, just seriously consider those things, and then it'll pave the way to a successful relationship, you know, from there.
Yeah. I would say so. Two things I'll say. One is specifically to my girls, the ladies. But the first thing I will talk about is no one is perfect. You're not perfect. Your mate is not perfect. It's not possible, right? The only perfect person was Jesus. And because of that, make sure that you're being understanding, and that you don't expect that person to be perfect, right? Because nobody can be perfect. That's one thing I'll share. The second thing that I'll share is to um, treat people the way you want to be treated. And what I mean by that specifically is that if you say something to somebody, be sure that you're okay with them saying it to you.
Yes.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things that I literally live by. For us, if we're not on the same page about something, or if there's something we need to talk about, I am not going to speak until I can deliver it the right way. Number one, and until I've thought through it, because so that. And then my third thing that I will say, um, to my girls, to my ladies, listen, speak less so that you can be heard more.
Oh,
Just
that's
listen.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Kenneth and Delaina Allen. I think you guys have dropped some gems today, especially around blended families, second marriages, how to keep intimacy in the marriage. And we just want to say thank you. We love you guys, and we're looking forward to. We need to make that time so we can have that dinner together. We've been planning, but all of our schedules have just not connected. So,
Yes.
with all of that, we'll say good night to everyone,
Happy
and
New Year!
All right.
Happy
All
New
right.
Year!
Love you guys.
all
Love
right,
y'all.
bye bye.